Hi, my name is, well, actually, my name is Anonymous, but making this video to really improve my speaking and how I enunciate and really talk to the camera. I feel right now, I feel like I need to think on every word, and I just want to get into the habit of just saying what I think and not being able to just think on a time and just have a conscious flow of words and I want you know this to be like a learning experience. I want to learn how to get my points across, how to speak better, and I think the first step is videoing. So this is kind of what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to make at least one video a day, just talking about just anything I could wrap my head around. And so for today's topic, I will be discussing Atomic Habits by James Clear. I had just finished this this book by James Clear. It is my second time reading it. I think my first time was probably back in 2017. No, not 2017. I don't know what I'm thinking. Not 2017. I don't know, probably high school. I think maybe it was my freshman year, which was 2022. And I've, my second time reading it, going over it, I think I've noticed some of the things I've implemented which made it work at keeping my habits. For example, I have this app on my phone that tracks habits, and I've been reading for 100 days plus now, which is pretty cool, which I think means that I'm a reader, and that's my identity now. And sorry, it's really hard to talk under this mask. I want this anonymity. Is that the word? Anonymity, anonymous, or whatnot, so that I can speak freely, and also, shit, I'm a bit chopper. I'm not gonna lie, bro. But yeah, the habits that I've instilled, for example, the reading has made me into a reader, right? I now identify as being a reader. I am a reader. And like for example, I have my books here, which I'm trying to read. It's Monte Carlo, the Count of Monte Cristo, right? Monte Carlo, the Count of Monte Cristo, and some other books I have, which maybe I'll talk about one day or someday. But you know, I want to touch on just how habits shape me and how my identity was formed and what identity is. I think I think identity is a conscious awareness of what we are. I think identity is something that we always do and we always think about without knowing. And that may be contradictory because, conscious awareness, right? You have to be aware that you're doing, what you're doing, or you have to be aware of who you are or who you're becoming. But that's not necessarily the case. There's also the subconscious. And, you know, maybe I'm making sense or whatever, but who cares? What I'm trying to say is I am conscious. I am aware of what I'm doing, the habits that I do, but sorry about that. But I'm not so cognizant of who I'm becoming. Like those 100 days, I don't I don't even remember the previous 99. If you know what I mean. Um, who I've become, I wasn't aware of it until I'm doing it, if that makes sense. I don't think anyone notices the change until you've changed. And maybe that's what Atomic Habits teaches, right? We have all of these micro habits that we do throughout the day that really makes us who we are. And we aren't really aware of them, or at the very least, our identity associated with these atomic habits until we do. I'm trying really hard not to like breathe so loud underneath this mask, but it's really hard. And I think this is one of the things that I find it really hard to do, is to keep talking, is to keep trying to find words, because all I want to do now is just think in my head what I would like to say instead of saying it, because that's more comfortable to me. I'm in my head a lot, and maybe that's a realization that I would have never had if I never started this, you know. So it's the first video, it's the first day. Well, you know, it's, sorry, I don't have my glasses, but it's 10:22 p.m. right now. The day has ended, and I just thought, hey, you know what? I've always wanted to do this, and so let's do it. And I think, as the more times I do it, the more comfortable I'm gonna get. So that's the first video, I guess. Habits, identity, and a bit of introduction. And yeah, just expect a video tomorrow, I hope. Maybe it'll be earlier in the day, or maybe I'll have more exciting stuff to talk about. But this has been, what should I call myself? I would like to be called the Sweeties. Ooh, the Sweeties. Yeah. This has been Sweetie. First video. Hopefully tomorrow will be another. Peace.